Welcome, everyone, to today's show. I'm JJ Flazanes, your host and producer. Thank you for downloading today's episode. Today, I'm going to share with you my New Year's Eve ritual. It is something I have been doing for about 9 years, I think. I was on my rollerblade this morning, and I was trying to remember back to the year that I first started doing it. And I believe it was somewhere around 2011, might have even been 2010. I was out with friends and my husband at the time, and we were spending New Year's together, and we sat down to dinner, and funny enough, it wasn't even me that started this. My girlfriend at the time, she was reading some questions to ask. She likes to play games. They always have been game people, and we had a really fun game night that New Year's Eve. And she pulled out her phone and pulled up some list of questions to start asking. And I don't think she used all the questions, but she picked 5 or 6 of them. And we had a really great in-depth discussion. And literally from that point on, I loved it so much that I had her email me those questions. I put them in a document, and I've been using them ever since. And one year, my husband and I drove down to his brother's to have New Year's, and we didn't bring the sheet with us. So we just, from memory, started answering the questions and kind of did our practice together on the way down before the party, because we were going to be at a party. So we weren't going to be alone or with people who necessarily wanted to do this exercise. And over the years, when we would get together with other couples or friends, I would always want to do this. But again, I wasn't necessarily with all the right tribe of people all the time who were interested in taking a deeper dive and being reflective about your year in order to set intentions for the following year. And so I talked about this a little bit more on the last Inner Circle membership group coaching call that we had last week. And I put a document together for you guys, and I'll share it towards the end of the show, and you can go and download it. There's a sheet with the questions that we used and I've been using. And then there's a sheet with my suggested way to do this practice, like from start to finish, how to do the ritual, and about how much time it'll take you or how much time to give it in order to complete it before midnight. And I will address some of the questions in here today, but I just want to talk about the ritual in itself and why do it, and just to look at what you do and what is meaningful to you. I used to want to have one of those crazy New Year's Eves. I'm not one who has ever gone to Vegas or done. Actually, have I gone to Vegas? Not necessarily for New Year's Eve. I've gone to Vegas in between Christmas and New Year's, which was super fun. I've never done the whole Times Square thing. I've watched it on television, but I've never attended live. And I did live in New York City. So I'm that person who was looking for what is meaningful to me, and what do I want to be doing? What do I want to be spending my time doing and feeling at that last minute of that year to celebrate it? And, celebration is a big part of my life. I'm a big fan of celebrating your wins, appreciating what you can all the time, and keeping yourself in that frequency, because it's the frequency that invites in more. And I was thinking about one of the best New Year's that I ever had. It was with an ex-boyfriend, and he was a salsa instructor, and we had gone with his family to Palm Springs. There was a salsa event, and so of course we rang in the New Year salsa dancing, and I got to dress up, and I had a sparkly dress and a boa, and it was super fun. And then we went to a hotel and got to sleep in and have a nice big bed, and then in the morning we went to brunch with his family, and it was just lovely. It was one of my favorite. And I felt sad when I thought I'd never experience anything like that again. My ex-husband wasn't someone who loved big parties or big groups. And so we kind of every other year would decide how we were going to spend it. And sometimes it was more quiet, but I always liked to do something. I was a big fan of celebrating, because what are you waiting for? I mean, what if the only reason we want anything we want because we think we'll feel better when we have it, why not celebrate what you have now, so there are no regrets on appreciating the things that you can appreciate, and for being fine-tuned to the things that you might ignore otherwise. And that's one of the reasons why I did this ritual, and I kept this ritual up, and annoyingly so for my ex, wanted to make sure that we always were talking about deep things, and we were, not always, but again, it's reflective. I think it's emotionally responsible. And when I introduced it to Doug 2 years ago with Michael Neely, we spent New Year's with him up in Santa Cruz, and we did it with another friend, and he had a fireplace. We even did the Write and Burn, which now I'm incorporating. And I'm excited because we're spending New Year's Eve again with Michael Neely in Ojai. So it'll be a really fun ritual that we've all already done together. And now we're going to take it to another level. We're even going to do business planning and hiking and some emotional releasing activities. And I can't wait. I'm so excited. It's so meaningful because I like depth. I also love parties, and I love to celebrate with people of like mind and have great conversations and have a good time. So we probably will have a little dance party inside as well. But one of the reasons why I think it's important for you to go back and reflect is because, especially with this year, and for those of you that might be more afraid than others, think about what happens when you don't acknowledge your fear and when you don't move because you're frozen. Do you have regret? I mean, think about it. If you spend a lot of time holding back, a lot of time being quiet, a lot of time denying your own inner voice, doesn't that feel bad? Don't you feel frustrated and repressed and anxious and maybe depressed and angry at people or jealous of people because you think, well, why do they get that and I don't? Well, that's on you, unfortunately. I mean, you're the only one who can decide where you expand and when you expand. And I look at the year and the new year as a way to not necessarily do those stupid New Year's resolutions. Everyone always says, I'm going to lose 10 pounds. Like as a trainer, like, oh my gosh, shoot me in the head. I every year would just get annoyed with that. And I would take advantage of it from a business perspective. And I'm not saying that that's not a good goal to have, but when you're looking at weight loss, when you're looking at your habits, forget just weight loss. Think about your relationships. Think about your business. And you say, I'm going to do better this year. And then you apply absolutely no accountability, or you go on full on strong for a month, 2 months. You join the gym, you get a personal trainer, you do a diet, right? And then what happens? You revert back to where you were before because it's what you do most of the time, not what you do some of the time. And these habits, if you've been listening for a while, you've heard Crystal's show on lessons will be repeated until learned. She's been with me now a year and a half, going on 2 years here soon. And, and I see the changes in her and I see the changes in the people that I've been working with. But guys, it takes a little while, right? Your habits are your habits for a reason. And until you uncover why they're there and what they're protecting you from and what neurological patterning in your brain keeps them there and keeps them alive, until you're curious about your subconscious patterning that keeps you attracting the same thing over and over again. I watch shows from time to time. I'll binge out on a show because I don't want to work. And especially with what's going on now, it's like I can go outside for that long. I mean, I exercise and we take walks, but I can't go sit outside. I don't have a yard right now. I don't have a pool right now that's mine. And I don't really want to go be at the community pool. Not for any reason, although I could. I just would like the opportunity to use it if I so desire. So I'm watching a show that wouldn't normally be in my repertoire. It was a show that a friend of mine years ago, I think, misunderstood. I think she thought it was like a how-to guide. It was like a one-time documentary or something. And I'm sure many of you might have heard of it or have even watched it. It's Girlfriend's Guide to Divorce. And I didn't love talking about divorce then, and not even really love talking about it now. Not because I'm ashamed anymore. I've kind of dealt with some of those feelings, but I wasn't attracted to the show. But now I was looking for something to watch, and Doug is attracted to some shows that I wouldn't care to watch. And so it's cool because we spend so much time together. It's great for us to be apart. So it's Girlfriend's Guide to Divorce, and the main character's name is Abby, and it starts out with her and her husband pretending to get along because she's a famous writer, and then, but they're not, and he's been sleeping outside of the house, and then, so it starts off immediately like they're just on the brink of getting a divorce. And somewhere down the line, they go to get divorced, and then they kind of almost get back together, and you watch this, and part of me thought, well, I know it's not going to happen because there's 5 seasons, and if they got back together, it would defeat the purpose of the show. But what I watched was their pattern. I watched that they love each other, they've got a history, they know each other, they like each other, and they love each other. And what I saw was the pattern of C&I from the show I did with Dr. Terry Real about your relationships, the new rules of marriage. And I watched them have the same fight over and over again and decide that means that they're not supposed to be married. And I thought, wow, what a waste. What a waste of lack of responsibility for yourself to invest in some therapy, in some coaching, and some self-reflection. Abby is not very self-reflective. She doesn't take responsibility for her emotions, and Jake didn't either. And it made me sad. It was really sad because they love each other and they like each other and they could have worked and they could still work if they'd get their act together. So I don't know how the show ends, in case those of you are possible fans of the show. Maybe they get back together. I don't know. But I hope to God that they work their shit out. When the last episode that I watched recently, they're both dating other people and he's proposed to somebody else, and again their patterns don't change and they just repeat them over and over again, and it doesn't have to be that way. And I feel like a lot of us, you, me, a lot of us do that in life all the time, and we just make assumptions that if something isn't working, your business, your ideas, your creativity, your relationship, your health, your weight loss plan, your dedication to your health, you just go, oh my God, well then it's not meant to be. I'm working with someone right now who had so many different goals. I said, where do you want to focus on? And she said, I want to focus on the food and the exercise piece, because if I eat better, I'll probably feel better and want to do the rest of that. But as I started to talk with her more, I uncovered a lot of places in life where life was in chaos. Life was in trauma. So food was being used as a way to numb. So no, we're not going to start with the food. We're going to start with the emotions, because until we clear those, until you make peace with those, you express those, you understand what's underneath those, we're not going to be helping you. Because again, just changing the habit outside of you, like eating, right? Or changing the kind of food. You guys all know there is nobody out there who listens to the show more than for one episode or two episodes. While you may need some help on some supplementation, and maybe, you should be gluten-free, or maybe you should be lower carb and you haven't tried it yet or whatever, most of you understand what healthy eating means, right? If everyone, no matter what diet plan you're on, you're a vegan, you're keto, you're whatever, everyone agrees on vegetables, like period. Nobody doesn't think a vegetable isn't healthy. And everybody understands lean proteins, whether vegetable source or animal source, and also healthy fats. I don't think anyone would disagree on that basic plan. So the question isn't, how do I change my diet to lose weight? The question is, why don't I stick to it? Why don't I commit to it? What's the block? What's the pattern that I have that I fall back on? Why do I not love myself enough or believe in myself enough? Or, most importantly, why am I not dealing with my emotions? What am I feeling that I'm trying to numb with food? Now, I didn't mean to go off on a tangent here on food, but that's just one idea, one way in which a lot of people, again, kind of self-sabotage themselves and focus on the wrong thing. Doug and I recorded a new episode that aired yesterday on sales training for podcasters, and it was the 5 reasons podcasters fail. But I'm going to invite you to listen to that episode because it really applies to the psychology of business as well as in life. And it really could be applied to anybody. So if you have a small business, you don't have to be a podcaster to hear that episode, because I didn't direct it exactly to podcasters, like in terms of in the podcasting space. It really could be for anybody who's in business or looking to have a business. So again, it's the 5 reasons why podcasters fail. It's episode 15 on sales training for podcasters. So listen up. And what we did was we used a document that I got I was searching online for some traits of superstars, because I realized that that's who I want to work with. I have a few spots left in all of the masterminds, and I only want to work with people who believe in themselves. Someone who knows that they're destined for greatness and that they know that they need help to get there, or that they're frustrated because they believe in themselves, but they don't know what the problem is, and they're willing to invest in themselves. And the people who aren't short-sighted because they're concerned about the couple $100 or whatever a month that you may spend, because you understand the leverage, you understand the momentum, and you understand the train you'd be getting on, and at the speed that it's developing, all of the goodness and opportunity that would be available to you by taking that leap. In fact, I'm getting ready to send out an email for those of you that are on the list, and I thought this is a really good thing to share. foresight, having understanding what's coming down the pipeline, so to speak, right? Making decisions. And this is leading back to this article that I found. It was called The 8 Traits of Young Millionaires, or People That Make Millions Quickly. And it's not about the money, it's about the momentum. Because again, you could use these traits in relationships, those who are successful in relationship. Next week, Doug and I will share with you some of the trials and tribulations we've gone through this year and some of the lessons and habits we've been able to change using the tools I've already shared with you. I'm going to share with you why it's worked. We're both going to come on for the last show of the year to share how we believe that you can do it too. Most of you, if you've heard all the business stuff, I haven't focused as much on relationship because I've been living mine, right? At first, it was really awesome and cool and new and good. And then, of course, things happen over time and we are still awesome and great, but we've had to work at it. And it's been awesome because I have a partner now who's willing to do that. And we want to share with you next week some of the tools that have worked for us to keep our relationship great and to take responsibility for ourselves and heal some of those wounds that keep coming up from our last relationships. So this article was called The 8 Traits. Now, I'm going to quickly read them, but I'm only going to focus on a couple of them. The first one is they dream big and then act. And, I'm seeing that so much right now with a lot of you. And how this ties into the New Year's ritual is that when you do this New Year's Eve ritual, whether it's before the new year or right after the new year, don't do it unless you're going to do something with it. It's a nice ritual to do, but it honestly will be a waste of your time if you don't take it and run with it. It's to leverage you. It's to take you from point A to point B. It's to help grow you. And trust me, I recognize I'm not normal. My biggest lesson in my marriage was that not everybody wants to grow. And to me, that just didn't comprehend that. As a triple Sag, a Pisces with a triple Sag, I just didn't understand that. I don't have time for failure. I'm sorry, not failure. I don't have time to stay in that negative place. I can fail all day long. It teaches me something. I don't look at failure as a bad thing. My marriage wasn't a failure. My marriage was a contract. It had a beginning, a middle, and an end. It taught me more than I ever could have learned without it. It made me move forward in ways, again, I wasn't comfortable with, but I wouldn't have done otherwise. So I appreciate every part of it. There was never a mistake. Everything that happened was perfectly in divine timing. But in order for us to actually take a ritual and use it for what it's there for, is to say, I'm ready to actually make change. We did the show with Mary Morrissey a couple weeks ago, the 3 Steps to Dream Building. And one of the things that she said at Agape years ago that really, and she said it in the show too, and I said it, was some people live 99 years and some people live the same year 99 times. So who are you? Can you honestly look at your life and say it's changing? It's growing, it's moving in the right direction, or do you just keep repeating patterns over and over again? So this eight traits that I can put in the show notes, the link, it's on entrepreneur.com. They dream big and then act. So this is the first one. Number 1 on this list is about having a vision, having a dream, knowing where you're going, and not knowing exactly where you're going. Trust me, I did not think I'd ever be a podcast coach. I did not know I'd have a mastermind, and I did not know I'd ever have a certification. You can ask one of my new emerging business builders members. Shauna came up to me at my manifestation boot camp last year and said, you need a certification. And I looked at her like, I can't teach this. Yeah, thanks, Shauna. And then she wasn't the first person to say it, but she was the one that said to my face and really thought about it. And you planted the seed, Shauna. So thank you for that. And it started to grow. And then someone else said it, and then someone else said it. And I thought, okay, I'm going to do this. So I didn't know that's where I was going. But it's when you're open to moving forward, when you have a vision for your life, when you decide that you need to be happy, you want to be happy, you want to live in the happiness, you want to have passion and excitement. You have to decide that. It doesn't happen by accident, guys. And you have to be it in order to live it. There's nothing that you can attain. And Veronica and I talked about on her show last week, there is not better than here. So it's the balance of how do you appreciate where you are and still move forward and desire more in whatever area, or not even more, you just want to feel better and have more of the things that you love and enjoy. So okay, back to this list quickly. They dream big and then act. If you are someone who is, you're very cautious, you're very careful, just know that sends a message to the universe that you don't trust yourself. You don't believe in yourself. You don't believe in your vision. And so that is what that means. So we only have two emotions that fuel really what we do. They can be broken down into more subtle frequencies of different emotions, or like 100 different emotions on the feelings and needs list that I have. And so again, the subtle frequency difference is there, but basically it's love and fear. It's alignment or misalignment. And cautious means I don't really believe in myself. I don't trust this, or this isn't, cautious and careful is a lack of trust. So be clear when you're telling yourself and you're patting yourself on the back for being cautious and careful. And then I would just ask you to reflect upon this year and what's been happening and what happens when somebody you love dies, or when, you just don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. And so will you have regrets? If you died today, will you have regrets? And it's not to be morbid and to fear death, or to act out of scarcity of not completing something, but be serious and ask yourself, if I die tomorrow, do I have any regrets about the chances I didn't take? So I actually did a show way back in the early beginning of my podcasting. It's on Fit to Love. I'm not sure if it's on Spirit, Purpose, and Energy, but it was based on the book, The 5 Regrets of the Dying. Bronnie Ware, I forget, Bronnie is her first name, and it's a Hay House book, and The 5 Regrets of the Dying. And if you haven't read it, pick it up, because it might set you straight. All right, number 2 on this list of 8 traits of young millionaires and people that become successful quickly is they seek out mentorship. They seek out mentorship. That is number 2 on this list. They know that they don't want to recreate the wheel. They know that someone else has done it, and why would they take the time and all of the different lessons you're going to learn, and the failures and the setbacks and all of the obstacles, when someone else can walk you through it? And yes, you're going to have your own obstacles and lessons, but why not fast track it? Why would you say, no, I'll do this. Yeah, I'm going to build my house by myself. Forget hiring an architect or contractor. So no, I'm going to learn how to, could you imagine? I'm going to learn how to put my car together. I'm going to build a car. Of course you don't do that. You go buy it from somebody. You go hire the architect and the contractors. You're not going to, unless you're not an architect or a contractor yourself, of course, then you're going to do it yourself. But think about that. There's something like so important in your life, but you're unwilling to invest in it. So they seek out mentorship. That's the second trait. Number 3, they are intuitive and creative. Intuitive and creative, which means they don't get stuck in logic. And they don't get stuck in that left brain analytical analysis paralysis. They trust their gut. They trust their impulses. They're connected to their intuition. Now, I did not talk about this for too long. We talked about it a little bit on Sales Training for Podcasters, but I'm talking about it here because you guys are that. You want to connect with your intuition. You want to be led by that, but you have to trust it and you have to act on it. You can't say, I'm going to be intuitive and then deny all the impulses that you get, because not that you aren't going to still get them, but you're going to end up attracting, again, contrast that will be uncomfortable when you are in denial. So I'm sure he'd be okay with me talking about this, but Michael's been married a couple times. And one of the last marriage, and they're still good friends. Everything is great. But one of the things that we talked about on this show, I think, when Doug and Michael and I used to talk a lot more about relationships on these shows, because we were all going through a divorce at the same time, Michael said that, he didn't listen to his intuition. So he knew he shouldn't have done what he did. He shouldn't have married her. Like, his intuition was telling him that, but he denied it, and it didn't end up working out. And I don't know if he has any regrets about that, but it was a clear indication that I should have listened to my intuition. So that is a big piece of being in business, and also being able to differentiate when it's an upper limit versus it's your intuition telling you need to do this. Number 4, they set their own course and don't look back. Those who reach millionaire status aren't the kind of people who take the easy road. They set their own course, they embrace change, and they would rather chase their dreams than worry what other people think of them. And they absolutely refuse to limit themselves to other people's visions. If this is you and you are ready, I would love to work with you. I'm so clear about the kinds of people I want to attract right now for all of the podcasts, because this isn't about, I had a conversation with somebody considering the podcast mastermind, and he's in real estate and he's new to podcasting. But honestly, like I said to him at the end, I don't know that it's a fit. So because this work is about growing you as a person also. And it sounds like you really defend your limitations a lot. And that isn't where we're going. We have to have our eye on the prize, which is ahead of you down the road, not on what's happened to you before. We can't drag the past into the now and think we're going to have a different future. Let me repeat that. You can't drag the past into the now and think you're going to have a different future. Number 5, they thrive on knowledge. So I think that is all of you, regardless of where you are, because you listen to the show. People that listen to podcasts absolutely love knowledge. So that's a tick for you in the box of superstar potentiality. Number 6, they aren't afraid to risk failure. Yeah, that's a big one. When you are afraid to risk failure, you don't do anything. And that's what keeps you stuck. Successful people aren't born destined for success. They have to gain the experience and insight necessary to achieve their dreams. Failure is an opportunity to learn and grow. If you've never flopped, you've never put yourself out there to see if you'll succeed. And one thing is certain, no one becomes a self-made millionaire by playing it safe. And if you're afraid of failure, you'll be overly cautious. And the trick is to take calculated risks and know when to go all in. So the fear of failure part is a real thing in all areas. That's with love, that's with your health, that's with owning your emotions, and that, of course, is with business. Number 7 is they don't trade time for money. It's about leverage and strategic leverage, and I'm going to talk about that in a second. And number 8, they focus on their strengths, which in my world means that they understand what their zone of genius is. They focus on using their zone of genius and getting out of and delegating their zone of incompetence and their zone of competence, because it is not where your strengths are. It's a lower paid, lower valued asset, and your zone of genius is where you thrive. It's where people really appreciate and need your expertise because it's you. Now I'm going to go back to they don't trade time for money. So I'm getting ready to, and again, this is all within the vein of when you do this ritual, if you choose to do this ritual, this New Year's Eve, that you do it with the intention of uncovering and helping yourself make a decision about what you're moving forward and doing differently. And yes, it's a cliche that every day of the year you could do the same thing. You could decide. We just had the winter solstice, and I attended a circle with Sharon Hunt. She'll be on the show again. She was on the show 2 times at the beginning. She was the person who married my ex-husband and I in Kauai. And I've seen her many times since. We've been in touch. She's been on the show. And she was holding a winter solstice circle. And I attended last night, as did a bunch of you who are in the inner circle, because I invited you to join us. And it was, the understanding of what this time and space is providing for you. And again, we can use the excuse, the hallmark excuse that, it's just another day and every day could be a new day. And that's true. But is it for you? Is the question. If it is, if every day you wake up and are passionate about making a new day that isn't a repeat of the 30 you had prior to that didn't take you down the road that led you in a place that you enjoyed, are you that person? It's really easy because the whole globe is doing it on New Year's Eve into New Year's Day, because it's the first day of a brand new year, right? It feels cleaner, and it can be. It doesn't have to be, and you can do it at any time. But if you're going to do this exercise or do any exercise, I'd invite you to take it another step further this year and then take some action. I've already booked myself a colonic for January 7th. I was trying to get in sooner. I've already decided in the Inner Circle membership, we're going to do exercise accountability. We did it for 2 weeks in December actually December 1st to the 14th, right after Thanksgiving, and it worked pretty well for people. We had a spreadsheet as well as a Marco Polo, and I know we're going to do it again. So we are doing a 30-day manifestation challenge in the Inner Circle, and yes, that is a paid group. So it is $9.99 a month for now. And it will go up on March 1st to $14.99. And everybody who's currently in it or joins before March 1st will be grandfathered in at $9.99. But it will go up to $14.99 because there is a ton of value that you get in that group. And again, I only want to attract those, and I only want to commune with those who are serious about their growth. I'm sort of overdoing free things, and one of the things that comes with growth is you have to let go of some things. And for those of you that, again, I've talked to, or you've been interested in working with me in some capacity, I just want to make sure you're super clear about my next year. I usually have a live event, and once a year, twice a year, and I ask the room, how many of you have seen me grow? And usually every single hand goes up because I share with you on this show my own growth patterns. And it's to say that I'm doing the work. I walk my talk. I don't tell you to do things I don't do. I don't tell you to do something I haven't done. Unless it's with someone I've trusted, and then I usually try it because again, I wouldn't represent it if I didn't believe in it, because you trust me, and I take that very seriously. But with the addition of a new mastermind group, so the Emerging Business Builders group, which is for beginners, and then the split level of the inner circle, and then what's coming is the certification. As my time is used helping others at this capacity, especially with the certification, I have to pick and choose where my time goes. And I have some friends who I guess we can say I'm modeling a little bit. One of them, or both of them, have large communities, larger than I have. And one of them doesn't even do any personal coaching. Her mastermind is $13,000 a year. And I don't even think it's a business group. I think it's a life coaching group. And she's extremely successful, and she only does group coaching. And I don't even think she does most of that. I think it's like a self-directed community of people, and she enrolls a lot of people. And when I heard that, I thought, really? Okay, well, that's awesome for you. And then another one, her first level of her mastermind, and it is business, 100% business with a little spiritual thrown in there, is $11,000. And she doesn't do any personal coaching in that. She only does the group coaching, and she has trainers that work for her, and the trainers do the coaching. And then her next level is $25,000 a year. And again, she only does group coaching. She does not do one-on-ones. She does not do VIP days, and she doesn't do live events where she's the only coach. Now take that model, and I'm moving into creating the Empowerment Strategist certification. So my focus is going to change, which means that everybody who's currently working with me in the groups are going to get the most amount of my time that anyone will in the future, except the certification people. So next year, I may not be doing all of the things I'm doing this year, and the prices won't go up or go down. They'll go up because, again, I'm trying to look for the people who are serious, the people who believe in themselves, the people who I don't have to convince that they are destined for success. That kind of has to be there. And if you don't believe in yourself, or you do believe in yourself, but you need some help realizing that, that's where I'm going. So I just want to make sure, in case anyone's still on the fence, that this is the last year I will be this hands-on with the people in my masterminds and coaching. Eventually, I won't be doing one-on-one coaching. I will only be doing VIP days because I want to get real traction with people. So again, it's not going to happen overnight. It's going to happen sort of throughout 2021, but it will happen. And if some of you have talked to me and said, I've listened for 6 years and I know I should be working with you, or I've always thought about, I'm going to work with you. Well, guys, this is the time. This is the time, because you're never going to get it for less, and you're never going to get more of me than now. And that is part of what I've learned every year, and through the successes and the clarification that I've gotten from the things I'm doing. But until you start doing them, you don't know what you don't know. You got to start somewhere. I offered the mastermind the first time, and I way underpriced it, but I knew that I did that. And I did that purposely because I was comfortable, and I recognized that my confidence level wasn't where it should be. So I priced it based on my lack of confidence. And that's okay, because I knew that at the time I didn't have any contracts in place. I didn't have spreadsheets in place, the accountability, because again, I keep forgetting that I'm not normal. I keep forgetting that other people don't see what I see or don't understand what I understand. I forget that people don't understand the power of my community or of my email list or of the fact that you trust me. And when I tell you that I love this thing or product, that you buy it, and you buy it because because you trust me. And that is something I've had to gain over time by doing what I'm doing, and then have it work for you. And then you keep coming back. And some of it may not work for you. I'm not saying that you do everything I tell you to do, right? It's the suggestions, because again, lessons will be repeated until learned. That's what always happens. And I'm just wanting to encourage all of you to use this time. I think 2020 has been right? 2020 is about seeing clearly. I see clearly now. I see more clearly than I did before. I am appreciative of all the lessons I've learned. I had something come up. I will talk about it next week with Doug about the clarity and lessons I learned in relationship, and to look at what was really underneath the fights that we were having about a particular thing. But we're going to talk about that next week. I don't want to share that here. But back to the ritual. So whether it's my ritual or your own, or you already have something in place, just, ask yourself, am I doing this because I like habit of, like, this is I'm a earth sign in one of my planets, an earth moon or an earth sun, and I really like the ritual of it, but I actually don't do anything with it? If that's you, maybe this is the year to act on it. And if you've never done a ritual, then I'm excited to share with you something you can try, and you can customize it to do whatever you want to do. So if you're interested in downloading my ritual, which is again just 2 pages, like a suggested order of events, and then the second page are the questions, you can go to jjflazanes.com/NYE, standing for New Year's Eve, NYE. And it's a download you can get right away, and it'll also be sent to you in an email. So again, just to reiterate today's show, I really appreciate all the lessons that I've been learning and the rituals that I get to do, not only with my partner, who is open to all kinds of things. I can't wait to share with you what I asked him today, next week, that if he would be open to next year, which is exciting. And I want the best for you. But here's what I've learned this last year more than anything. I believe in your ultimate success. I can see the blocks. I can see the lack of confidence. I can see the patterns and the habits. The problem is I can't see it or learn your lessons for you. And I really want to work with those that I don't have to push too hard, because you're more ready to claim your greatness. You're more ready to carpe diem, right? And to seize life. And you're a superstar, and you're ready to realize that. So if that's you, the beginner mastermind is called Emerging Business Builders, and it's a group of amazing people. I can't wait to share that with you. We do have a few spots left, and I'll tell you the price. It's $295 a month, or $3250 in full. Okay, that's $3250. That's $3,200 for the entire freaking year of a lot of business education, support, and access. Not to mention a whole bunch of free stuff that comes with that, including a free ticket to the Manifestation Bootcamp I'll be holding in October, which will be a live event. So all that to say, if you've been upper limited by an idea of a mastermind, the Emerging Business Builders group has spaces open, and we'd love to consider you and have you. Again, it'll be the last time I probably coach that group. So they're going to get me to get it started and create some good momentum and get some success and get people making money. And then I will have one of my coaches probably take that over next year. So get in now if you want it to be with me. Oh, and one more price jump. I will be increasing the price of the business coaching package that's one-on-one. I will not be increasing the life coaching weight loss. It'll stay where it is right now. But I thought I should separate them now versus all under one umbrella. But if you're coming for business coaching, the price goes up on January 1st. So I hope you download the ritual. Again, jjflazanes.com/NYE, New Year's Eve. And again, if you're interested in either one of the masterminds and you want to have a conversation, the doors close next week on the 29th. will be the last day to have a conversation with me. So applications are due on the 28th of December, 2020, and the group will be closed as of the 29th of December. So that's jj'sinnercirclemastermind.com to fill out an application. There's no obligation when you fill out an application. It costs you nothing to apply, and we can get on a quick call and see what the best course of action is for you. I wish you an amazing New Year's. I can't wait to share with you some of the relationship stuff next week with Doug. It's been a while since he's been on the show, but I appreciate that this is a holiday season, and I hope you celebrate and be with whoever you can be with or choose to be with, and doing the things that you love, and appreciate every moment you're here on this planet, breathing, living, giving your gifts, and enjoying life. So happy New Year early, Merry Christmas, happy belated Hanukkah, and I love you, I believe in you, and I want you to believe in yourself too.